This isn't diplomacy. It's a declaration. When Dr. S. Jaishankar speaks, the world listens. And the West, it gets uncomfortable. He didn't ask for approval. He delivered truth to power and left the Western narrative shaken. Let's dive in. The world watched. The West flinched. And Dr. S. Jaishankar spoke truth to power. In a world of shifting alliances and emerging global voices, India's external affairs minister just delivered a message that left Washington and Brussels stunned. This wasn't a speech. It was a strategic correction. And it starts with one line, "Don't feel bad when I comment on your comment." The old world order is gone. In the 1950s and 60s, America's dominance in the world was unquestioned. Again, in the post-Cold War 90s, the US shaped the global order. But that era is fading. Dr. Jaishankar made it clear that kind of dominance doesn't exist anymore. India isn't seeking permission to speak. It's speaking because it must. The balance of power is shifting. The rise of a multipolar world means voices from the global south can't be muted anymore. And India, armed with technology, talent, and ties, is ready to lead in that evolution. Let's get honest for a second. The word democracy has been used so many times by Western powers, it's almost lost its meaning. They use it like a badge of moral superiority, like some kind of global permission slip to interfere, judge, or lecture anyone they choose. But when India, the world's largest democracy, dares to speak up for itself, suddenly it's labeled aggregationalist. That double standard, Dr. S. Jaishankar just blew it wide open. He didn't do it with rage. He didn't raise his voice. He simply used facts, and facts, when delivered with clarity and confidence, are the most powerful weapons in diplomacy. Jaishankar's line was simple but devastating. You have every right to comment, but I have every right to comment on your comment. So don't feel bad when I do. It wasn't just a comeback. It was a mic drop, because for decades, India and many other nations in the global south were told how to behave, what to believe, and who to follow, all in the name of democracy. But when these very nations exercise their democratic voices, challenge Western perspectives, or push back against criticism, suddenly it's called interference, disruption, or disrespect. Let's break that down. When the West comments, it's freedom. When we respond, it's a problem. That's not democracy. That's hypocrisy. And Dr. Jaishankar wasn't afraid to say it. He called out what nobody else had the courage to spell out on the world stage. That democracy isn't a one-way mirror. You can't use it to reflect your values onto others while refusing to see your own cracks. If you're going to preach democracy, then live it. That means open dialogue, not top-down lectures. Mutual respect, not moral policing. And if you want to talk about rights, let's talk about the right to self-respect. India is not just another country on a democracy checklist. It's a thriving, complex, noisy, beautiful democracy of 1.4 billion people, with hundreds of languages, dozens of religions, and centuries of civilizational strength. But time and again, Western think tanks, media outlets, and politicians pick and choose what they want to highlight. They'll amplify every protest, every mistake, every political disagreement in India, but stay silent on gun violence, systemic racism, broken healthcare, and crumbling institutions in their own backyard. That's silence. That's selective outrage. That's the hypocrisy Jaishankar exposed. He didn't just defend India. He flipped the mirror. He made it clear. You are not the only guardians of democracy. We are a democracy too. And if you want to have a conversation, let it be equal, not condescending. This is a key turning point. Because what Jaishankar did wasn't just stand up for India. It was a stand for every country tired of being told how to be democratic by nations that often fail their own tests. Here's the truth: democracy isn't perfect. Not in India, not in the US, not anywhere. But when one country holds the microphone and tells every other nation what to do while hiding its own flaws, it's no longer about democracy. It becomes control wrapped in virtue. And Dr. Jaishankar said enough. He reminded the world of what India stands for, not just free elections or court systems, but dignity, diversity, and dialogue. Real democracy is messy, it's loud, it's uncomfortable. But it's also fair. It allows everyone to speak. Not just the rich, not just the West. And India is speaking now loudly, clearly, unapologetically. Look at how the West reacts when India takes strong positions. Whether it's buying oil based on national interest, partnering with multiple countries for strategic balance, or refusing to be bullied into foreign policy boxes. They call it defiance. But it's not. It's independence. Standing up for your nation doesn't make you anti-West. It makes you pro-sovereignty. And Jaishankar's words echo that deeper truth. He doesn't oppose partnerships. He values dialogue, but he demands one thing: mutual respect. That means no sermons, no scolding, and no moral superiority from those who themselves are struggling with fractured democracies. Let's talk about that. The West often uses buzzwords, freedom, rights, democracy, as tools of foreign policy. But when those same concepts are violated at home, children in cages, police brutality, media suppression, they ask for understanding, complexity, or context. So why doesn't India deserve the same? Why do headlines abroad scream about democratic backsliding in India but ignore hate crimes, voter suppression, and political division in their own cities? That's what Jaishankar laid bare. He said, if you can speak, so can we. If you can criticize, we can respond. And if you truly believe in democracy, then let it start with equal voice, not filtered narratives. This wasn't a tantrum. This was truth telling with tactical precision. Dr. Jaishankar reminded the world that the days of moral monopoly are over. No nation gets to play the role of global parent anymore. The global South, and especially India, has grown up. It's not waiting for approval. It's moving forward with its own vision and its own voice. And here's the most powerful part. This wasn't said with anger. It was said with dignity. It wasn't a rejection of democracy. It was a defense of real democracy. The kind that welcomes debate instead of silencing it. The kind that holds a mirror, not a magnifying glass. So when Dr. Jaishankar said, "Don't feel bad when I comment on your comment," he wasn't being sarcastic. He was being diplomatic with a punch. He was saying, you talk, we'll listen. But when we talk, don't flinch. Don't retreat behind moral high grounds. Don't label our assertiveness as aggression. Because if we are equal democracies, then let's behave like it. Let's talk to each other, not down to each other. That's the future of diplomacy. That's the future of global leadership. And that's what India is bringing to the table. Not obedience, but ownership. Because democracy isn't about domination, it's about dialogue. And dialogue, real, respectful, two-way dialogue, is exactly what Dr. Jaishankar just demanded from the world. India is not just practicing democracy. India is teaching the world what mature democracy sounds like. And that sound, it's bold. It's confident. It's impossible to ignore. True democracies, Jaishankar said, must be mutually respectful. That means no preaching, no moral high ground, and certainly no patronizing lectures from one democracy to another. He reminded America of its own internal contradictions, racial injustice, gun violence, political instability. So when U.S. lawmakers criticize India India has every right to highlight its concerns too. That's not defiance. That's equality in diplomacy. Dr. Jaishankar delivered a masterclass in modern diplomacy, not by rejecting the West, but by redefining India's relationship with it. And nowhere was this more clear than in his stance on partnership. India aligns with America, but it does not obey it. Let that sink in. Because this is the heart of strategic autonomy. India is no longer content with being the junior partner in global affairs. It's not looking for hand holding or permission slips. It's asserting a new kind of engagement, collaborative, not compliant. And Jaishankar made that crystal clear. He acknowledged America's pivotal roles at the UN in shaping the world's financial systems like the IMF and World Bank, and in maritime and Indo-Pacific security through alliances like the Quad. India respects that. It recognizes the power and experience the United States brings to the table. But recognition does not mean submission. Where interests converge, India will cooperate. Where they diverge, India will chart its own path. No drama, no disrespect, just dignity. This is diplomacy between equals, not old school Cold War alignment where one side dictated and the other followed. Jaishankar's message wasn't anti-American. It was pro-sovereignty. In a multipolar world, cooperation is essential, but only if it's mutual. India is ready to stand shoulder to shoulder, but never under someone's shadow. That distinction is what separates the old India from the new India. It's not isolationism, it's independence. It's not rejection, it's recalibration. So when the West comes knocking, India listens. But it also speaks loudly, clearly, respectfully, and if needed, firmly. Because the age of strategic subordination is over, and the era of strategic self-respect has begun. That's what makes Jaishankar's diplomacy so revolutionary. He's not burning bridges. He's rebuilding them on equal footing. And the world is now watching. Not just what India says, but how it says it. In today's digital world, narratives shape nations. Reports are written, countries ranked, spotlights manipulated. Jaishankar called it out as a whole industry. It's a geopolitical power game, one that India is no longer afraid to challenge, because India won't let others write its story. Not think tanks, not foreign media, not unelected voices from foreign lands. India is telling its own truth, loudly, unapologetically. What's India's greatest global asset? Jaishankar says people. With over 30 million Indians and people of Indian origin abroad, India has a global reach unlike almost any other nation. Tech medicine, academia, diplomacy. Indians are leading. But this diaspora is not just a number, it's a strategic soft power force. And with India investing in skills, education, and global mobility, Jaishankar positions the country as a provider of talent in the new world order. Jaishankar's message isn't just political, it's philosophical. Stop lecturing us. Start partnering with us. And when you speak, expect us to speak back, because India will no longer stay silent. Not when its democracy is questioned. Not when its global role is diminished. Not when hypocrisy tries to wear the mask of morality. The West is shocked. But India is just getting started. Don't feel bad when I comment on your comment, because this is the new diplomacy. And Dr. S. Jaishankar is leading it. This wasn't just another diplomatic speech. It was a tectonic shift in tone, in intent, in position. Because what Dr. S. Jaishankar delivered wasn't just a message to the West. It was a wake-up call to the world. For too long, diplomacy was dictated, narratives were manufactured, values were selectively applied. And countries like India, rich in heritage, intellect, and strategic value, were expected to play supporting roles on a stage built by someone else. But no more. Jaishankar's words didn't carry aggression. They carried assertion. The confidence of a civilization that knows its worth. A democracy that no longer needs validation. A nation that doesn't just demand respect. It commands it. And that's the essence of New Age leadership. It's not about shouting louder. It's about standing firmer. Not about dismissing alliances, but about redefining equality within them. Not about rejecting cooperation, but refusing condescension. In this 30-minute masterclass, Dr. Jaishankar flipped the script on decades of diplomatic doublespeak. He exposed the hypocrisy of moral preaching. He challenged the monopoly of narrative. And most importantly, he reminded the world, India will speak, and when it does, it won't whisper. To the West, this may feel like discomfort. To India, it feels like dignity. This is what strategic autonomy looks like. This is what democratic maturity sounds like. And this is what leadership in the 21st century will demand: courage, clarity, conviction. So if you're watching this thinking it's just a foreign minister's talk, think again. It's history in motion. It's the sound of a rising power rewriting the rules. Not with arrogance, but with authority. Not to provoke, but to be heard. Because from here on, India is not just participating in the global conversation. India is setting the tone. Stop expecting silence. Start expecting sovereignty. And don't feel bad when India comments back. This is not just a shift in speech. This is the new diplomacy. And Dr. S. Jaishankar is leading it.